Guys, welcome to Amity Tracks. Excited to do this video. This is the Vinyl Tag 2003 video. For those of you who don't know, just real briefly, if you watch enough of the vinyl community videos, other channels do what we do. The beginning of each year, somebody usually proposes a set of questions that like everyone answers. So everyone in the vinyl community, not everyone, but whoever wants to, makes a video answering those same questions. And so it's kind of fun. You can go through and watch everyone's answers to these questions. So Rob Walker uh, put this year's questions, a list of 20 questions here that are, related to the music we have, and a lot of fun questions. Just kind of gives you an opportunity to show some fun stuff and tell some stories and whatnot. So I don't know Rob Walker personally, but seems like a good dude, and I just subscribed to his channel. So, but anyway, he proposed this year's Vinyl Tag 2023. So let's do it. Here we go. Question number one was your favorite new album or favorite album that was released in 2022. Okay. So, I think I'll be too exciting here. I don't, it's not a whole lot of like new bands that I like. Although if you just saw my Sam Fender video, right, there's somebody, but he didn't put anything out this year. Although that I think he put out a live album. Anyway, I don't have it. But Rob said that reissues were okay. So I was going between two. I have a reissue and I have actually a new album. Um, the Beach Boys Sail on Sailor, the 1972 sessions, which include Carl and the Passions, So Tough, and Holland. Those two albums. It's just a fantastic reissue. So there you go. Or I will say, and I did a review. Actually, I did a review of that too. But I did a review of this Neil Young with Crazy Horse World Record. Neil Young's new album, which surprisingly is really good. Now, I love Neil Young, but I haven't been a huge fan of a lot of his his archive stuff has been amazing, but the kind of newer stuff he's put out past couple of years. This is really good though. I really like it. So I guess I'll pick those two. Okay, question number two. Show a record from the last band or person that you saw live. It's been a couple years. The last live show I saw was 2017, I believe. And that would have been King Crimson, which was a dream come true. I'd never seen them before. And so they didn't disappoint. It was amazing. So, show an album by the last band you saw. There you go. Here's a live King Crimson album. This is USA, right? So I figured that was appropriate to show a live King Crimson album. Okay. Question number three. A band where their first album is their best album. So this was a little tough for me because I didn't want to show any band that I was probably going to do like a full video on at some point, right? Because, if their first album is the best album, then I'm showing you what I think their number one album is, and that would spoil any sort of ranking, and I love doing ranking videos for these artists I like. So I had to think of an artist who I probably wasn't going to end up doing a ranking video on. And there's actually two that came to mind who just burst out of the gate with these, huge debut albums, and then they fizzled pretty quickly. And they maybe put out one or two more, and then they were done. Right? There's two bands. Well, I think both from the '80s. I believe. Yeah. Well, I know one of them at least was from the '80s. So here is Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Debut album, I believe. Double album. Came out in 1984. I don't know if you remember, this was huge, right? Relax and all that. And then they came out with an album I think called Liverpool, which I have on CD. I don't even have on vinyl. That was it, right? Or maybe they put out one or two other things. I don't know. But that was definitely like the big thing. Then the other one that kind of came to mind was the Stone Roses, right? I mean, this is a phenomenally great record. What was this, 89? Isn't it? I don't know. It says 2009, but that's the reissue, or, when this, drawing a blank, but editor can put up there. I think it was like 89 or somewhere around there. I don't remember when this came out, but phenomenally great record. And then they just kind of fizzled out. All right. Number 4, a hat trick. A hat trick. Let me move my questions over here so I'm not like leaning out of frame here. A hat trick, which is what Rob defined as. I have no other place to put this. Rob defined as an album where you have the vinyl, the CD, and the cassette. There are actually several I found. I used to have a little stack of cassettes over there. But the one I picked would be ZZ Top's Tres Hombres. Their brilliant, amazing third record. Go check out way a long time ago. I did a ZZ Top video ranking and talk about this quite a bit. Of course, with the amazingly delicious gatefold there. So yeah, this got the CD here. This is like the reissue, so this has it's a couple bonus tracks. This CD is good because it's got a real nice. There's the gatefold again, but nice essay in there. And waiting for the bus. Jesus just left Chicago and LaGrange live, so some live tracks there as bonus. And I do have the cassette. Kind of cool. It's blue. Don't know why, but yeah, the cassette. Actually, I mentioned this in the ZZ Top videos. Cassette means quite a bit to me. One of my brothers, but my deceased brother, gave this to me some birthday like a long time ago. So I've held on to this tape for sentimental reasons. All right, number 5. This is an interesting one. An album that begins and ends with the same letter. So I don't know if this is sort of a cop out, but I'm going with S. And how about Stephen Stills' debut, Stephen Stills? S. Right there. Stephen Stills. Okay. All right. Oop. Let's see. Next question is number 6. Wait, am I right? Yeah. Show someone who was born in the same year as you. So I was born in 1973. So I went online to kind of look at, famous musicians born in 73. And then it also had to line up with, someone who actually have something for them. I don't know, 73 for me at least was surprisingly kind of thin as far as anyone that I would know. So the best thing I found was Caroline Core. I don't know if and I just have CDs here, but of the Cores, right? I have a couple of Cores CDs. Actually really good, I thought. I don't know. I kind of got into them and bought a couple, and then I haven't, these both, what were these? These were both, like early 2000s. And I just sort of forgot about them. So I don't know what they've done in the past 2 decades, if they're still putting out music or not. But Caroline Core, apparently, the drummer, quite lovely. There she is again, right there. Apparently, she was born in 1973. So there you go. Okay. How about, let's see, number 7, the most listened to album this year. So what album did I listen to the most? That's tough. But I think I have a good answer for that. And that would be Spirit, the 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus, which was originally, what year? I should know these things before I start saying them. Anyway, editor can put that up too. Because I know this showed up in one of my countdowns already, my yearly countdowns, so it's already happened. I'm up to 1973, so it's probably like 72 or something. I don't know. Editor can put it up there. But I probably listened to this one more than any other record this year just because I discovered, like to my shame, I, I, I had sort of missed Spirit for some reason. And I just kind of discovered them this year, really got into them, and this album just blows me away. So I have listened to this album a ton this year. There you go. Okay. Um, which let's see. Okay, yeah, and then number 8, which artist have you listened to the most in 2022? Oh, when I say this year, I got obviously 2022 was when I listened to the Spirit album so much. This is the only one out of these 20 questions where I don't think I have a real definitive answer on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's any one artist that comes to mind now that I just like listen to way more than anybody else. I mean, I I go through phases, right, where I really get into an artist for a while and just like focus on them and focus on them, and then I'll move on to somebody else. But no one's jumping out at me that's like somebody that just like I couldn't let go in 2022. I don't know. I think that's the only one I'm going to skip. I'm sorry. Okay, number 9. I'm not going to skip number 9 though. An Australian band. This is easy for me. This is a band that I have been obsessed with since I first got into music, really. Men at Work. Okay. Now this, you might say, wait, is that did we lose the color? No, because you're probably used to that version of this record, right? This is the US release. This would be the Australian and Japanese release, I believe. So there you go. But I'll put this one up. Men at Work's debut, Business as Usual, one of my all-time favorite records, in my top 10 favorite records of all time. Yes, I will defend Men at Work all day long. They only put out 3 records, 3 studio albums, and they were done. But I have also followed Colin Hayes' career quite a bit ever since then. So, yeah, you asked me to pick out an Australian band. That's easy. Okay. Where are we at? Number 10. About halfway through here. A surprising purchase from 2022. So, what would people be surprised that you bought? Well, I guess people that know me know that I'm not a huge fan, or not a big fan at all of country music. Probably my least favorite genre. There's a few, I like Willie Nelson. I like Johnny Cash, of course. He transcends, whatever. And there's a few country things. Actually, I like Chris Stapleton. He's a newer artist that I dig. He's got kind of a rock edge to him, though. But I don't know. So something I picked up recently: Glenn Campbell's greatest hits. I don't know, people that know my tastes might be a little surprised that I picked that up. But yeah, Wichita Lineman is a brilliant song, and that's honestly the only one that I kind of knew. I'm a huge fan of Springsteen's um, Western Stars album, and that was hugely influenced by people like Glenn Campbell. And so I don't know. I was like, I saw this. Yeah, let me investigate some more Glenn Campbell. I like it. I mean, Wichita Lineman still sort of stands out for me, but yeah, it's good. Glenn Campbell's greatest hits. Might be something you wouldn't expect to see in my collection. All right. Number 11, an artist you are a completist on. So, obviously an artist where I have everything. There's actually quite a few. I actually have pretty severe ADHD, like diagnosed, like seriously. And you know, ADHD people are not just scatterbrained about certain things, but we also like hyper focus on things. And for me, a lot of times it's music, right? So if I really get into an artist, I get in sort of like you know ADHD hyper focus mode. Like I gotta find every record, every record. I just do that. But I don't know. So there's quite a few I could pick. I'll pick the most obvious because I guess the person where I have the most the one artist where I have the most records for, and I am a completist on, would be Neil Young, right? I don't have everything of his on vinyl. I have some of it on CD, but I mean I have either CD or vinyl. I've got everything, and plus bootlegs and live stuff and everything. So Neil Young. Okay. Let's see here. I love this question. Number 12. Great run of 3 albums. I might do a whole video on this topic. I'm a huge fan of streaks. Like where a band just hits a streak, and like, who had a great streak of albums. And so this question's right up my alley. I love it. I was thinking, I'm a huge fan of King Crimson's 80s trilogy, Discipline, Beat, and Three of a Perfect Pair. But then I was watching Norman Maslov's Vinyl Tag 2023, and he picked those. So I can't do those. And then I'm thinking, oh man, what Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR, that, I mean, in 1 year, right? Bayou Country and Green River and Willie and the Poor Boys. Or if you want to even fast forward to, started at Green River, and then you could tack on Cosmos Factory on there. But then Mazzy talked about those too. All right, so, but then I thought about this one. I haven't talked about these guys at all, but I love this band, Canada's own The Tragically Hip. And so I would start with their sophomore effort, Road Apples, which is amazing. Then Fully Completely, which is also amazing. And then Day for Night, yeah, which is also amazing. So there's my, if I can hold them all together here. There's my streak of 3, Tragically Hip. Okay. Oh, this is fun. Number 13, an 80s soundtrack. A soundtrack from the 1980s. Oh man, I mean, what? I love soundtracks. You want to go with some Tron? Nah. Top Gun? Too obvious. Mark Knopfler's soundtrack to Local Hero? Beautiful. Ghostbusters? No. How about First Blood? Score by, was that Jerry Goldsmith? Nah. Little James Bond action? Want to go with Octopussy? Nah. Against All Odds? Take a look at me now. No. All right. Those are just little teasers. I got two that I really want to tell you. These are awesome 80s soundtracks. One I've featured already. If you watched my spooky album covers video for Halloween, I showed Halloween 3, which was 82. And it is a spooky cover. And it's a killer soundtrack, man. This is so good. John Carpenter joins up with Alan Howarth, and they just do this kind of electronic, just pulsing, just great soundtrack. But, and actually, this is actually reminiscent of, or at least kind of sounds a little bit like the one I want to feature the most, and that's the Blade Runner soundtrack, Vangelis, who we lost this year. That's a question coming up, but I'm not going to feature Vangelis. But let's shout out to, I believe we lost him this year, wasn't it this year? Yeah, Vangelis died. So shout out to Vangelis, but who did brilliant soundtracks. But the Blade Runners, now this is interesting because this version came out in 1994, but obviously the film came out in the early 80s and the music was composed in the early 80s. But this has a long tortured history of these sort of chopped up soundtracks that were released, and they finally kind of did it right and put out sort of the the definitive one in the 90s. But I mean, obviously the music and the film and everything was 80s. So, and this is genius. The Blade Runner soundtrack is just gorgeous, brilliant. All right. Oh, well, that's the next question. Number 14 is entitled "We Lost Them." So someone who died in 2022. Vangelis did, but the person I really want to feature is someone I kind of wish I had done kind of a tribute video to, but we had just started the channel when he died, and I had just talked about this album that I'm going to show you. So I don't know, I just didn't do it. Should have, but this allows me to rectify that, and that's Ramsey Lewis. So Ramsey Lewis left us this year. Brilliant jazz pianist. I love, I haven't featured as much jazz really so far on this channel, but we'll do some jazz stuff. Let's see. There he is. Ramsey Lewis right there. So rest in peace, Ramsey Lewis. This is the In Crowd. This is one of my very favorite jazz. Well, forget it. we don't have to even have to say jazz albums. This is one of my very favorite albums, period. This is brilliant jazz trio live in a club. I think actually my first year of it, wasn't it? Six, when did this come out? 65? I think it was. So I think when I did my 1965 video, I featured this and talked about this, and then Ramsey Lewis died very soon after that. But anyway, there you go. Rest in peace, Ramsey Lewis. Okay. Um, Number 15, a disappointing purchase you made in 2022. Well, I'll show this one. I didn't even bother getting this on vinyl, but I just bought the CD. As you know, I'm a huge Springsteen fan and not super happy with what he put out. Only the Strong Survive, which is an album of soul covers that he doesn't really innovate too much on. I love Springsteen, but I want him to write and play his own material. I don't really care about hearing covers. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, it's fun. Sounds like he's having a good time, but so what? I want original material from Bruce. So yeah, this is probably my. I have high expectations for Bruce, especially recently. His before this, his more recent records have been really good, and so I was excited. Anything new coming out, but covers, nah, not for me. Okay. Let's see. Number 16, a non-vinyl item. So I assume related to music. How about this? I bought this on DVD. That Moon Age Daydream, the new documentary on David Bowie. Um, yeah. So there's a DVD. Phenomenal film too, by the way. Awesome film. Let's see. A grail, a holy grail. So an album you've been looking for a long time and finally found in 2022. There's a few. I could show you Sean Colvin's debut, Steady On, which I love, and I've had on CD forever, but always wanted vinyl. I finally found it for like $6 in a used bin. I was so excited. So there you go. Or Chris Isaak's Heart Shaped World, which I've always loved, on a white vinyl, little red staining on it. So I think this was a record store day release at some point, but I finally bit the bullet and ordered this. So glad I did. But I think the grail that meant the most to me this year was when I found the Kinks' greatest hits, the Rhino, that Rhino collection. It's the early singles, up through about Face to Face, and there's a billion Kinks, you know, comps out there, but this is just brilliant. Had this on CD forever. Always been looking for it. Finally found it this year. I was so excited. Okay, let's see here. A space themed record, like as in outer space. I'm gonna go the easy route, right? I picked a soundtrack. How about John Barry's score to The Black Hole? Very underestimated film, I think. The Black Hole. Anyone remember this movie? It was Disney, but it was pretty dark for Disney. It's pretty awesome. One of the few movies that I think would be awesome on a remake if they did it right. Okay. So we got two more. 19. Show a present someone gave you. And I think the intention of this question was a lot of times people in the vinyl community kind of, or maybe some people that subscribe to some channels, actually like send some records to some of the content makers. I don't know. I haven't earned that yet, so I haven't gotten any gifts, along those lines. I think that was the intent of that question. But I can show you a gift I got. It's music related. My nephew sent this to me for Christmas. It's pretty cool. Went up on the wall. Actually, kind of hard to see here. So that's, move my arm there. Can you see that? Need kind of a white background. But that's Stevie Ray Vaughan, and etched or carved out of an actual Stevie Ray Vaughan record. That's pretty cool. Just kind of goes up on the wall there. Anyway, there's my gift from my nephew. Thank you. Okay, and number 20, last question. 50 years ago, show a record from 1973. Well, I already did my 1973 best of list, but so I wanted to maybe pick one that I didn't make in my top 10 or something. Just show you something different. So I just grabbed Lou Reed's Berlin, which is awesome. It's amazing. So Lou Reed's Berlin. There you go. 1973. Well, that was fun. All right, guys. So yeah, if you're putting up videos, do the Vinyl Tag 2023. It's a good time. And please do subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. That helps us do what we want to do. And we'll see you next time on Amity Tracks.